Alright, Shalom. Akim, before I begin, I want to start out by giving infinite praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahushai, Ba'Hashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, accurate most men who teach and rule well, and peace and blessings be unto your fellow Akim, your brothers that also push out this word in truth, faith, and sincerity. And Lord's will, in this lesson, I'm going to be bringing out a couple of scriptures just to kind of alleviate some of the incredulity that comes about every now and then, pretty much since the beginning of time. All right, whenever scoffers come up, all right, and talk all sorts of mess towards the servants of Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahushai, the number one thing that they'll say to try to discredit anything is the fact that they'll in the most carnal way possible, they'll tell the men of the Lord and tell them of the times, and tell them of how much time has passed. All right, and pretty much tell us that we indeed are not right in the times of the end, you know, and of course the most gut wrenching and most annoying thing to hear is the classic they've been saying that for such and such and such and such years, you know, they've been saying, right? So that pretty much what sparked up this lesson, just because of the fact that it was brought up a couple camps ago, but as well as the fact that this is inevitably gonna happen. All right, as in times past this has happened, right? And when our apostles and elders were on the scene, it has happened. And really, I also have a scripture, all right, just to prove over the fact that why these people, these scoffers, say what they say, all right? Because obviously it comes from lack of understanding, and of course, the source of it all, the lack of the fear of the Lord, and that's a-okay. You know, that's fine, right? Because the scripture is going to say why. This is Romans 3:3. It says, for what if some did not believe? Shall their unbelief make the faith of the Most High without effect? O Lord forbid. Yea, let the Most High be true, but every man a liar. As it is written, that thou mightest be justified in thy sayings, and mightest overcome when thou art judged. All right, that's right. You got to remember that our righteousness literally comes over the fact that we're doing, well, first and foremost, the faith, right, and the fear of the Lord, but also the fact that we're actually out in the highways and hedges and doing the things that we was commanded to do, right? Luke 14:23, go to the highways and hedges and compel my people to come in, right, that my house may be filled. All right, y'all get that house. All right. Again, Luke 14:23. I might have quoted it word for word, but there's nothing wrong with reading it, right? Luke 14:23. And the Lord said unto the servant, go out into the highways and hedges and compel them to come in, that my house may be filled. All right? And of course, this being the house of Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahushai. And anyone that comes up to say that, they're not realizing that not only are they coming up against the Lord, right? Because you have to remember that the Lord's mouthpiece is his prophets, man. All right? In the chief place of concourse. The wisdom is out there for grabs, right? So if our people are coming up, I'm really anyone else, heathens and the like, Esau, Edom, so-called white man, they can come up and say all sorts of things, right? Concerning the times that we're in, right? But time again, they're going to come victims of what? 1 Thessalonians 5, right? Them that are living in their, coming upon them while they're in their security, like it says in Sirach. Right? So the people who say that, all right, ultimately they just lack understanding. And really, if you want to really get deep into the nitty gritty, they're just set up to be people that the Lord is going to destroy, man. And during those end times that they say is so far away and pretty much is non-existent, man. You know, people like that, they want America to continue. People, morons like that, they want America to continue to longevize their joy and their consolation, man. They want to stay in captivity, right? And most importantly, they're not doing what we just read in Luke the 14th chapter, man. They're not fulfilling any of that. So of course it makes sense that they don't want their shame to pretty much come to light, because that's what it is. It's just some shameful things, and a lot of the time you see it in Jake's faces, man. You know, because we'll constantly ask them, well, where are you at? Where are you at proclaiming or declaring the things that you believe? Same way as we do. It don't got to be on a Saturday. Be on a Saturday that, you know, on a Saturday we do it for the sake of for the sake of actually, getting more fish out there, so to speak, right? So at the end of the day, their unbelief, it's not gonna do jack shit, man. All right, it's not gonna do anything. And why would it? You know, this is Acts 5:38, and the thing is, when in the early days of the truth, for me personally, as a young man in the faith, I myself did, just being on the outside and listening and learning, taking notes and all that. You would have many scoffers that would come up, sometimes in groups, right? Saying all sorts of stuff that may or may not, try to trip up brothers' faith, right? Or try to, just trip brothers up in really anything. If some brothers find the environment to be very, like, unfamiliar to them, right? But nevertheless, that this is the fight, this is the condition of the battle, as the scriptures say, right? So this is the things that us, men of the Lord, have to deal with. And as it is written before time, you best believe you did indeed have scoffers, all right, that heavily scoffed at our forefathers. As a matter of fact, the scriptures say that there are certain men that have hazarded their lives for Hamashiach Yahushua, man. So being put in straits as we should be. And to put it bluntly, it's also a grievous thing sometimes, man. That the majority of our people aren't listening. The fact that they'll say these things because they're just squandering in their wickedness, man. This is Acts 5:38. And now I say unto you, refrain from these men and let them alone. For if this counsel or this work be of men, it will come to naught. But if it be of the Most High, ye cannot overthrow it, lest happily ye be found even to fight against the Most High God, Yahweh Shem Yahushai. You see? So indeed what I said is true, that whatever they want to do, whatever they want to say, in the most negative way possible, or even to want to put us into harm's way, they're doing that to the Lord himself. All right? Whether they want to say it or not, really, because they just don't. They see dudes on the street, and the Lord really put that spirit of unbelief on them to say those types of grievous things, man. All right, but nevertheless, this work isn't just from man's mind. All right, and that's why you're not seeing it being compromised in a devastating way. And I say in a devastating way because you indeed do have a certain agents trying to infiltrate. All right, Great Millstone for the likes of such camps, right? I'm trying to quote unquote find us out and do all sorts of things. And for what? For them claiming that we're speaking lies. And it's such a weak way to look at it, but in their perspective. But here it is: if we're speaking lies, why isn't it that they just won't leave us alone, right? It's because in their mind, they must be from the minds of men, right? But what they can't, people like Vocab or just any other scoffer that brothers can think of, they can fill in the blanks. But these people, they're not gonna refrain they're not gonna refrain and just leave this alone, man. They're gonna keep on doing what they do, because that's what demons are supposed to do. That's what left-hand spirits are supposed to do. This indeed is of the Most High, man, and they can't fight against it. They definitely can't overthrow it. They can try, but nevertheless, like the scripture said, you're gonna be found fighting against the Most High, man. All right. Excuse me for clearing my throat so much. This is 2nd Ezra 15:3, and this is the point I wanted to get as well. This and 2nd Ezra 9. So I'm just gonna speed read. This is 2nd Ezra 15:1. It says, "Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy which I'll put in thy mouth, saith the Lord, and cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. Fear not the imaginations against thee. Let not the incredulity of them trouble thee that speak against thee. For all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness." Yeah, that's right. Whatever imaginative things that these people saying shit like, scoffing and saying that it's possible that such and such, we're not going to see Yahweh shine the clouds in the next 1,000 years. We're not going to see the implementation of the MOTB in the next 2,000 years, right? As a matter of fact, the people that say these things, they don't even realize that they're literally just jumping on the same bandwagon as the same people who say that, like, you know, especially these fucking old heads that just say, oh, well, they've been saying that for such and such years. You know, we're not gonna see this happen in our lifetime. Come on, man. It's sounding exactly like what was it, like the prophet Hananiah's cronies, man, from Jeremiah, right? This is the real point I wanted to get right here. This is 2 Ezra 9:1. He answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest parts of the signs past, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time when the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. These people, first off, they don't even care or even want to believe, let alone believe that the MOTB is what it is, man. Right? That the market, I'm just saying that the mark of the beast is indeed the microchip, man, the RFID microchip, right? The device is going to allow us to buy or sell, right? And what? If you take it, you're going to partake in the cup of the fire and the indignation of the Lord, man, and pretty much being targeted and being a victim of those thermonuclear missiles, man, right? They don't even believe in that. So for them to say that, they haven't even realized that if you measure the times diligently, you don't even realize that that certain technology that's required for us to have those chips implemented, it wasn't even here, like 300, 200 years ago. And really, in the Lord's time, this is a new thing, and it's here. And what, by measuring the time diligently in itself, you understand that if that technology is here, we're closer than we've ever been to the actual end days, man. Right? Wickedness is at its all-time high. Folly, right, is set in great dignity, more than it's ever been ever. Right? People disregarding their kings or princes. Right? Worldwide uprisings, man. World War III trending on Twitter pretty much every other month whenever Iran makes a move on Israel and such things, man. You know, the world being at a constant uproar. These things are all recent, all right, and have never been before seen ever, man. You see, you know, whether they wanted to believe it or not, it's perfectly. Excuse me. They are literally fulfilling and being in their perfect mind. If the other brothers can receive it, they're in their perfect mind because here it is. The Lord deemed them and really made them as wicked as they can be, for the sake of them to be those antagonistic forces in these end times, man. You know, for us to actually have scoffers to even deal with, and for them to better yet, for them to be the perfect individuals for us to curse in the name of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, man. All right, and at the end of the day, they're just gonna die in their wickedness, man. At the end of the day. All right, so those one of this video was edifying. I'm gonna close out by giving infinite praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Shem Yahushai, B'Hashem Kakodash. Again, double honors to the apostles and elders, like most of them, that teach them well, and peace and blessings be unto you, full of Akim. You brothers, let us all push out this word in truth, faith, and sincerity. And with that, I'm going to say shalom.